Hi there, folks. Welcome back to the WP-Tonic Show. It's episode 236. Yeah, they're going quick. I've got a real great guest for this Wednesday interview show, folks. He's a member of the WP-Tonic Roundtable. He's always a laugh. He always provides good content. He's the founder of WP-Crafter, one of the largest YouTube channels that specialize in giving advice around WordPress with over 30,000 subscribers. That's Adam Preisler. Hey, Adam, would you like to give an extra introduction about what you do and what you're about?
Yeah, well, first I'll say thanks for having me on the interview show here. And for people that listen to the podcast, you might have heard or seen me on the Friday roundtables. Those are actually a lot of fun to do. I hope you tune into those. If you're listening to these, you should really listen to those because that's where people are. I guess the filter, there's no filter going on there. We're all just who we are. But yes, my name is Adam from WP-Crafter.com. You can also see me on YouTube, where most of what I do is I create video content for YouTube around WordPress. I like to say to help people get better results faster with WordPress. And thanks for having me on.
Oh, no problem. Kim, my co-host, cannot join us today. She's still sorting out some personal problems around the hurricane and some other issues, but she'll be on the Friday show and she'll try and be more regular. She's getting there, folks, but she's had a lot to deal with recently, so she won't be joining us. But I just want to go straight into it, Adam. Basically, you've been involved in technology for quite a period, haven't you, before you got a bit engrossed with WordPress? That's correct. Would you like to give some detail about some of the things you've done in the past?
Absolutely. You know, I'm just one of those like really curious people that likes technology. And I mean, I love technology, especially these days with all these open source projects. I'm not talking about just WordPress. WordPress is obviously open source, but you have so many other open source projects that you could do the most amazing things. For example, say you're a business and you need a phone system. There's an open source program you can install on your computer. You got a $10,000, $50,000 phone system. All kinds of open source software. So actually, it was my love of open source software. I think it was like 2009. I opened up I was really into open source telephone technology, something called Asterisk, and I opened up a call center, and it was all around open source technology. It was a telemarketing room pretty much, and we had employees that were making outbound calls. People that we weren't cold calling, people were asking us to call them for the product and service that we were offering. And we scaled that up using open source technology that cost nothing. We scaled that up to making 26,000 phone calls per day, and also using the same technology for another call center, making 100,000 phone calls per day. So we were really killing it with the technology front. So I've really just loved that technology can allow you to do anything like that, you know. So that's just kind of what's like driven me. I just really like things like that. And so WordPress was a natural fit after that. And it's just amazing how you can use this free open source software and build an entire platform for yourself on the internet. And it doesn't have to cost you anything. It's just a little bit of time.
Yeah, I was thinking about if there's any linkage to the people on the panel on Friday or a lot of the people we interview on the Wednesday interview show. And I think there is one characteristic that links a lot of them, and that is they're lifetime learners, that they're interested in things. Would you classify yourself like that, really?
Well, absolutely. I mean, here's a perfect example. I know this goes out over video and over audio. If you're watching the video, you see this kind of a purple light behind me. And that's because my latest thing that I'm into is those Amazon, I can't say her name, devices because mine will turn on. Amazon Alexa Okay, she just turned on. And the Philips Hue lights, you know, so I'm now fully automating my entire house, and it's so affordable to do it these days. But yes, absolutely. I'm always getting into something new. And right now it's been these really cool Philips Hue lights. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We are technology addicts. That's a good way of putting it.
Rightio. So what led you to WordPress then, Adam?
Well, actually, I had in that prior business I talked about, the call center, I had actually, that's when I first used WordPress, heard about WordPress. This was way back in 2009, though. And so when that closed up around 2010, 2011, it was short-lived because some laws had changed. The business was doing amazing, but then some laws had changed and we had to stop doing business, which was fine. My transition was getting into online marketing myself or writing reviews online. And that's what led me to WordPress. And there is that tinkering gene in me where I've just got to master something. I've got to figure it out. I've got to use it. I've got to push it. I got to see everything I can do with it. And that's probably exactly when it started. And then right after that in 2012, I think that's the year I uploaded my first video to YouTube. And it's the same motivator, right? I could buy a webcam for $70, a mic for $50, and now I have a video production studio. So let's see where this goes. And that's kind of how it all kind of came to be.
So how long did it take before, you know, I think you, in previous discussions on the Roundtable show, you said you almost straight away after the first few videos got feedback that encouraged you to continue. But when did it really occur to you that you were kind of really probably building a real business here with your YouTube channel and your affiliates and everything else?
Well, I think that this actually might shock you. That actually switch flipped in my head. Summer of 2016, I was in Las Vegas, your part of town. I was staying at the Red Rock Casino, chilling out at the pool. And I looked to my wife and I say, you know, honey, I think I'm going to stop everything I do and just pursue this WordPress YouTube channel. And she's always been an amazing support to me. My wife has always believed in anything that I want to do, that I could be successful at it. And that's really when the shift happened for me to stop doing everything and focus on it. And I think what it was that, well, obviously the channel was getting traction. It was starting to get some real traction.
How long have you, sorry to interrupt, how long had you been running it before that moment?
The way it started was I just threw up a couple, and they were kind of unfortunately low quality videos because, you know, everything's a learning curve. You just get better over time at anything, right? And so I threw those up in 2014. It was in 2014. I threw a couple of videos up, but then I didn't pay attention. I wasn't consistent. But then I went back and I thought, oh my gosh, wow. People actually are watching this and they're commenting on that and they like it. And why don't I just make another video and make another video? And at that point, I never thought that my main primary focus would be to create training and tutorials for people on YouTube. I never really started out thinking I would do that, but I did. And transparency, I did want to somehow create a platform for myself, whether it be a blog or this or a podcast. It just so happened that this is what really took off for me.
Because I think you said, and you have to correct me, because you told me that you were involved with this company that you were co-founder and owner of, that in the end for government meddling, you had to close down. But I think you said then you were doing some IT consultancy. Is that correct?
Yeah. So after that, well, actually, I've always been really good with technology, obviously, right? Because to make videos, you've got to have a desire to figure out how to make it all work together. And you just got to be willing to learn these things. And I've always had this willingness to learn something new. And actually, a satisfaction from it, learning new things. And I never, you know what it is? It's the life of an entrepreneur is a smart entrepreneur that hasn't found their path is you're constantly reinventing yourself. You're constantly flexible enough to shift gears, or you just get stuck with something and it becomes a dead end and you end up in an employment line or a welfare line. That's the life of an entrepreneur, unfortunately. I mean, that's the reality of it. So for me, yes, I did do some IT consulting, had some clients. It was always very easy for me to find clients because gosh, not to toot my own horn, I'm actually very analytical and I'm very good at figuring things out, cause and effect type of stuff. So I was always great at setting things up, fixing things. I'll go in, someone might take 10 hours to fix something. I'll fix it in 10 minutes because I'm able to quickly figure things out. It's just one of my, thank you, Google, by the way. I'll give some props to Google because that's how you fix everything these days, right? Google and now YouTube.
Yeah, that's true. So so you decided to concentrate on the YouTube channel. What were some of the early lessons that you observed and learned around growing basically your YouTube channel?
Well, I think I've definitely learned a lot. I've learned a lot of the things you shouldn't do. I learned through mistakes, because I tend to be a jump in feet first type of guy. And anyone that's an entrepreneur, you really need to be willing to make mistakes and be willing to have things not be perfect for the sake of getting it started, right? I'm sure you can relate to this, and I'm sure many of the listeners can actually relate to this. So my first couple of videos, I actually didn't have my face in it. There wasn't like a live video of me in the video. And I think pretty early on, I thought, I want to be able to make a connection with people. And I think being able to see them in the camera can kind of help that. And, I'm willing to put myself out there. And that's actually, I'll be honest, was a very real fear for me. And I think for a lot of people is this willingness to put yourself out there like that, to not only put your name on something, but then to put your face on it, because what ends up happening is you open yourself to criticism, right? Look at any...
Oh, yes, you do.
Oh, absolutely. And some of the most vile criticism actually is on social media, but YouTube, which is technically social media, right? You throw up a video and someone will say, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a complete idiot, and I have to see comments like this. But you know what? One of the things I learned is you can't you just delete it. Just delete it. Don't respond. Just delete it. Just ban them from your YouTube channel because, people you're going to have all types of people see your stuff and you're going to get attacks, and some might be valid because I do make mistakes, and I'll be the first to say I do make mistakes. Valid criticism's always welcome.
Well, you do make mistakes, but also you have your opinions, and other people have their opinions, don't they?
And we all are entitled to those opinions. I actually have a comment I got today, someone calling me a complete idiot on this security review I did. I talked about 5 security plugins. And a lot of times what it is...
All I can say, audience, is one thing I know about Adam is that he's no idiot.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. And yes, it's you just get these things, and there's nothing you can do about it, but just not take it and internalize it. But that's one of the things I actually really learned, really was to be willing to get through my fear of putting myself out there, then putting my face on it, and being willing to open myself up to the criticism, where a lot of people, that's a hard leap for them. Even today, I probably shouldn't even bring this up. There was like a big thing on Facebook. There was a Facebook group, and there was probably like 100 people trashing me in it. That's okay. That's okay. I'm willing to put myself out there, and that's just part of what comes with it. But the most rewarding.
Sorry to interrupt again, Adam. I'm not going to make a habit of it, but
That's okay.
but you have opinion. You're in the media. You're there. It's partly education and entertainment. You do provide reviews, and you provide. You're not wishy-washy. That's probably linked to your success. You know, a part of your success, but it's also people that. I'm trying to struggle with the right words. Don't realise the game that you're involved in. They respond in some ways, don't they?
Yeah, and that's actually, I appreciate you bringing that up, because that is the approach I try to make with my videos. Because to be honest, watching some tutorial videos can be the most boring thing on planet Earth if you can't inject your personality into it and try to make it fun and be willing to take a position. And that is a pro and a con, right? I'm willing to take a position. If something's crap, I'm actually going to say it's crap, but I try not to make negative reviews. But if someone asks me, I will answer you, because I'm in my mind, I feel like I'm looking out for you, you know, because there is a lot of stuff out there, but I do want to make my content like enjoyable. Absolutely. And here's the thing. I would never make any video if it was scripted. So if I'm having to sit there and do all this scripting, I'm not going to do it. But I will click record, and I will have some loose notes of what I'm going to talk about. And I'm just going to say what comes to my mind and comes out of my mouth. And you get me. You do get me. And you're right. Some people don't realize what I'm actually trying to do with the content, and they might take things literally sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll go for our break, Adam, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the equipment, your processes, because I'm fascinated by you, YouTube, and to have the chance to talk to such a successful YouTube marketer is a great opportunity. So we'll be back in a minute, folks. We're coming back, folks. We've got Adam with WP-Crafter. So, Adam, can you give some insight about some of the equipment you use? Let's start with the editor. What editor do you use for the video?
When I started, well, first, let me say something to the audience. I think everyone should give serious consideration into starting a YouTube channel. Whether your video, it's face-to-video or just a screen recording, there's this concept that's floating around right now, and I really like the simplicity of it. It's just one simple phrase: share everything you know. So if you're a web developer, a web agency, a software developer, you have a plugin, make some videos, get on YouTube and show people how to use it, or show people your knowledge, or through case studies. If you're a web developer, it goes a long way for people to feel a connection with you and actually want to do business with you. And and YouTube's free, by the way. There's no cost to upload anything and have a channel. So absolutely everyone should give some serious consideration to it. Now, the best part about it is the equipment doesn't really cost much. So for video editing, actually the most expensive thing is a video editing software. So I'm on a Mac. I started using ScreenFlow, and ScreenFlow is fantastic. A lot of people that have Macs talk about it. But last year, Camtasia came out with a new version for the Mac and for the PC, and they rewrote it. And now, back in December, I switched to Camtasia, because in my opinion, it's far superior now, and you can do a whole lot more. Now, ScreenFlow is like only $99, but I think Camtasia might be $199. But one of the neat things is it's now cross-compatible, which means I can record. If I had a video editor, I can record on the Mac and send it to them if they have a PC, and vice versa.
And what is one or two key features that it has that you think makes it more superior than Screen Capture?
Well, I'll say for me, if
ScreenFlow, sorry.
Yes, absolutely. Well, if you've seen any of my videos, here's a perfect example. If you've seen any of my videos, you know I put me in actually a circle, so you're not seeing all this stuff around the room. You're just seeing my talking. Instead of a straight talking head, I'm in a circle. I put a little drop shadow in it. It's up in the top right corner. So I've got this circle mask. So you could do some advanced things like put a mask on any of the video. You can, there's much more advanced animations than what you can get out of ScreenFlow. So there's a whole suite of animations. So those are really the main things for me. It's the animation. So you can like make some really cool lower thirds if you wanted to with it and just copy and paste it across. So in fact, on my other YouTube channel, I do have two. My other YouTube channel, I actually have a video comparing ScreenFlow to Camtasia. It's a very popular video, and I kind of show why I like Camtasia now and why I switched.
Oh, great. Can you give some insight about your production flow then? Basically, where do you get the ideas, and how long does the videos take, and your basic production flow? Do you mind doing that, Adam?
Yeah, and I'll actually give some editing tips, because when I got this editing idea in my head, this editing tip idea that I kind of came up with, but probably was out there anyway, I just think it was my idea. I actually fired my editor because I found out that I can edit faster than them now if I just do this thing. So this one little trick has saved me from having to have an editor. Well, I get the ideas. They actually come to me. People ask me for things in the comment section of my YouTube channel. I reply to every single comment. People are asking for things. I get ideas that way. I get ideas on social media. I try to follow what's going on with WordPress, and I get ideas from that as well. So there's actually never a shortage of ideas on videos that you can make, as long as you're plugged into whatever the topic is that your channel's about. So for me, I kind of try to kind of come up with the idea of the video, and then I'll spend the day kind of thinking about it. Not like I'm in some deep thought and it's taking up all this time, but I'll really think about it. Now, if I'm doing a tutorial, obviously I have to practice it, so I make sure I have the steps right. And then I literally just click on record. And here is that trick for editing. So if I make a 10-minute video, this is what I do. Inevitably, when you're making a video, there's going to be times when you're drawing a blank. That's a figure of speech, meaning you don't even know what you're going to say next or how you want to word it, right? This is a very common thing. And so what I do is, so if I'm, say, talking and everything, and I don't know what I'm going to say next, I freeze. And I just freeze. And I sit there and I think about what I'm going to say next. And then I make sure I leave like a 5 or a 10-second gap, and then I continue on. And the reason I do that is later, whenever you're editing, the audio portion generates what's called a waveform, so you can actually visually see where these pauses are. So then I know I just need to go jump through the pauses. And so now I can make a 30-minute video. It takes me 35 minutes to record. It takes me about 10 minutes to edit. And then I just export it and then upload it to YouTube. So honestly, I spend more time probably making the YouTube thumbnail and writing the description and coming up with a title than I do actually editing it, because of this editing trick.
Oh, yeah. I think what Adam just said is totally logical, because the editing, when you learning just to stop, not to panic, and giving a long enough break, because it shows up more effectively in the sound file where you have a break, once you leave a reasonable gap. Spot on.
Yes, and when the reason that's a real big benefit is, so say you're recording a long video, say it's an hour-long video, you know, it's a little tedious to sit there and watch it from beginning to end. I actually don't watch it from beginning to end anymore in editing. I just jump to these edit points. Yeah. And if I say something the wrong way, what I do is, say I mispronounce a word, I'll wait a couple seconds, and then I'll say, delete that last word. And then I'll wait 5 seconds, and then I'll just pick up. And so what that means is I end up getting these real smooth cuts. If I do my freezing my face, you can't even notice I did a cut.
I've got to say that, though, I think you're of this is really high praise for you, Adam. I think your videos, I really enjoy them. I actually put them in the same league from Shane from Fry Themes. The actual quality and the consistency. How do you manage to be so consistent in the quality that you produce?
I think it boils down to having a system in place, and you're trying to constantly improve that. So one of the best things that I like to encourage people to do that might be interested in creating videos, you can come to my channel, watch the first video, and then maybe watch a video 6 months after that, and 6 months after that, and 6 months after that. And you'll see that there's this constant iteration, constant improvement. In fact, Shane from Thrive Themes, that's actually one of his big messages, right? If you're an entrepreneur, you just got to get it out there and constantly make incremental improvements. And so honestly, and he actually knows this because I've told him this, that that holds me in a circle. I actually got that idea from them. If you notice, they do the same thing, their editor. I'm more than willing to say when I get inspired by someone, and I've definitely told him that I was inspired by that. But I think when you can boil your video process into an actual process, it's not really hard to make the video. Because what happens is, and having a podcast, with anything in life, you just get better as time goes on. So in the beginning, I don't know what to say. I got a lot of ums and ahs in the editing and all that. But the easier you can actually make it, the whole thing from A to Z, the more likely you are to do it. But I will say, with YouTube, there's this metric where you kind of have to create, if you want YouTube to promote your videos for you, you have to create 3 pieces of content per week, whether it be a video or creating a new unique playlist. So I kind of have to do 3 of something per week, or YouTube's going to start promoting my content less for me, and I don't want that to happen.
I didn't realise that. All right, that's we discussed that in the bonus content in more detail. So basically, when you were starting, did you promote it? Did you have an email list? How did you, or was it just organic people finding and you just producing more and more?
Well, I'm actually very proud of the fact that I want everyone to know that I started at 0. No email list. No, nothing, no Facebook, no social media presence, literally 0. Not a subscriber, not an email, not anything. I literally started everything at 0. And over time, I haven't done paid traffic. So there are a couple channels that maybe have grown faster in terms of subscribers, but it's because they're paying $4,000 to $5,000 per month to advertise their video in front of other videos on YouTube. Wow. I never did that. And actually that could be to my detriment. I do think I should be looking into it, but I literally started at 0. And for YouTube, it really just boils down to the right title, the right thumbnail image, and you also need to have that kind of a call to action. So if I can get someone to come back, that's what you're after, because realistically, my channel receives about 200,000 views per month, but my subscriber increase, actually, there's some really cool YouTube metrics, right? Only about 9% of those views are from subscribers. So I've got this huge room for growth, right? If I can kind of tap into that other, and that's actually a good statistic in the sense that I'm actually doing pretty good. But if I could just get the other 92% of the people to click subscribe and turn on notifications, I'm going to do a lot better. But I did start at 0, and there's a room for people, the listeners, anyone that wants to start a YouTube channel. There is total room to start from 0 without an email list. And obviously there's things you could do to help yourself along the way. And I think what's good is if you create content for certain audiences, and you know where those audiences are on the internet, you create it, put it on YouTube, and then share the video with that group of people. But yes, I definitely started at 0, and everything was organically grown.
Right, thanks for that. I think we'll wrap it up for the podcast part of the show, folks, and we'll go into bonus content. Adam's been generous to say he'll stay on for another 10, 15 minutes, and we'll go into more of the nitty-gritty about how you get audience for YouTube and some of the other things that he does to prepare each show. So, Adam, I'd like to tell the audience how people can get hold of you and learn more about you and the things you're up to.
Absolutely. I would encourage you to you can come to my website at WP-Crafter.com, or it might be more current to just jump on the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/WPCrafter. That'll take you straight to the YouTube channel. Go ahead and click on subscribe, and there's a little bell off to the right of the subscribe button. When you click on that, YouTube will send you a friendly email when I upload a new video. You'll get an email notification. You can decide if that is a video that might bring some value to you, but I'd love to have you visit the channel, ask a question. I respond to every question, comment, literally everyone. I spend a lot of time doing that because it matters to me. It matters to me to create a connection and interaction and provide value to you. But I'd love to have you on the channel.
Oh, thanks for that, Adam. And if you need to get hold of me, and I love feedback, folks, it's quite easy. Go on Twitter at WP-Tonic. Or you can email my own personal Twitter feed at Jonathan Denwood, Facebook, WP-Tonic. Or you can email me at jonathan@wp-tonic.com. We love your comments. We love your feedback. Guests you would like on the show. Anything you would like us to cover. It's fantastic to get feedback. And if you do get a spare moment and you can leave us a review on iTunes, it really, really does help. Another thing I'd like to point out is that you want to listen to the bonus content is go to the WP-Tonic website and you'll be able to see the additional bonus content on the show notes. And we normally, for our interviews, we do a full transcription and have all the links of any products or services that we're discussing. So do go to the website to find out more. And just to finish off, folks, remember we do our roundtable show on Friday there, Blast. We normally have a guest and our normal regular panel, and it's unfiltered like what Adam says, and we normally, I think, we cover some great content in that show. So we're wrapping up, folks, and we'll see you next Wednesday, where we're going to have a business person that utilizes Facebook for their business, entrepreneur, or just a Facebook WordPress. I've got Facebook on the brain, don't I? WordPress junkie. We'll see you next week, folks. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Well, we're coming back for the bonus content. That's the third episode that I've mixed WordPress with Facebook.
I was excited. I'm like, I want to hear from a Facebook expert on how I can grow my business on Facebook. That's a great idea. Because it's not all about WordPress, you know, like
what?
Not to cut you off, one of my video ideas I got that I'm probably going to record today is yesterday I did a video review for this amazing software called Plutio, but it's not WordPress. It's kind of project management. You can find it on AppSumo for the next couple days. Amazing deal. It's really cool. I put a video and someone's like, this is a WordPress channel. Why are you talking about something not in WordPress? If you want to talk about project management, why don't you do this product from We Devs? And I clicked on it and I said, you know what? Thank you for saying that, by the way. But I'm a firm believer that just because you could do it in WordPress doesn't mean you should. So yeah, I'm very big on saying don't do multi-site, don't do buddy press, don't turn WordPress into something that it wasn't meant to be, because you might have a lot more friction in your life, lose some hair. For the viewers that are listening, or the listeners that are listening, I am bald.
Yeah, we are, but he doesn't. We are unmerciless on Fridays. Sometimes taking the mickey out of Adam, but he doesn't really care S-H-I-T. We actually call him Dr. Evil. His nickname is Dr. Evil. But he's not evil at all. He's a very generous guy. But
that works.
I am going to buy you a stuffed white cat and send it to you, actually. I've selected one, actually.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea. On Friday, I'll just be like this.
You won't get it by Friday, but I've bookmarked.
On Friday shows, yeah.
I bookmarked what's selected, and I have to get your physical address and then post it to you. Or I'll have it shipped to you, actually. You must have your props.
That'd be a great Halloween costume, by the way. Get that gray jacket and then have the cat. I think I'm going to eBay right after this.
Yeah, exactly. I have actually learned a lot from your videos about certain projects that I never heard of. How much research do you have to do around different things that you're going to talk about, or is it that comes, like you said before, from the comment section? A lot of the stuff, because you've mentioned stuff that I've not even heard of before.
Well, by the nature of what I'm doing, I do get exposed to more things. I will say that my biggest priority is and you'll notice I only talk about something that I think is reliable, that is maybe a good value, that will serve people, that I could feel comfortable if. I wouldn't feel comfortable. I said, oh, you should check this out because it does X, Y, Z. You use it 6 months later, it gets abandoned or some bad thing happens, and then people are coming back to me. I would feel a personal sense of responsibility and obligation. But honestly, a lot of it comes from probably just paying a lot of attention to that stuff. So, and then vetting and testing the products. But then I do have, on the other side of things, I do have people come after me. I'll give a perfect example. Elementor, when Elementor came out, they have the nicest guy, but he is such a hustler in a great way. His name's Ben Pines, and he is their marketing officer. And he reached out to me 4 times. And I was like, no one uses Elementor. No one uses Elementor. And then when they got up to 50,000 active installs, I'm like, maybe I should be paying attention to this Elementor thing. And then I started making content around Elementor, and now it's massively huge. So I do vet things like that. And then I come across really useful things. So for a perfect example is a product called Project Huddle. It's projecthuddle.io. And I found that in a Facebook group, actually Lee Jackson's Facebook group, WP Innovators. I was in there and I saw him talk about that. And I said, man, this is the best thing since sliced bread. If this is what you need, I contact the product owner and get some content up there. And actually people love that. So I think just by the very nature of what I'm doing, I get exposed to a lot of stuff. But I turn down probably 99 things to find the one, because I only want to serve the audience and protect them.
Well, it's a balance, isn't it? You want to tell them about the new stuff, but you don't want to recommend or tarnish your brand recommending stuff that just doesn't perform or work, really, don't you? Because they're pretty vocal. We already discussed that, haven't we?
Yeah, and one of the big things I look for, which even if it's a great product, if the developer's really rude in the support that people have asked for, or it's lousy support, I'll have to skip over those, because I don't want to have people have bad experiences. I don't want to cause. I want people to trust me, and I try to do everything I can to protect that trust.
Exactly. So let's quickly get on to page builders. It's been a hot subject for the past over a year, 18 months, maybe. We've seen tremendous growth in that area. Basically, where do you see that going, basically?
Well, it's actually, when one of the other panelists on Friday, Morton was on and I was on, and that's the first time I met Morton, and Morton was saying that this Gutenberg editor is really coming after page builders. I didn't actually see that at first. I had to kind of see it for my own eyes, and I actually do see that that's what is going to happen. And the real question right now is, how's it all going to fit together? How is page builders are going to fit in that, because page builders aren't going anywhere. And unfortunately, page builders came out of WordPress's shortcomings, right? You should just be able to click and edit something on your page without having to find out where the heck is a menu. Why can't I just click on it and edit the menu? Why do I have to find all these? And then there's 4 different ways of doing things. So I don't think page builders are going anywhere, but I do think they're going to have to find a home within of the Gutenberg framework. Now, if you're a software developer, I think there's a huge opportunity there to build maybe a suite of blocks that bring functionality to Gutenberg. It's actually kind of exciting and scary at the same time.
Normally is it? When you got change, it's normally fear with opportunity all mixed up, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. But I think there's in any change, there's going to be winners and losers. And it goes back to something I said early in the podcast. You have to be willing to shift gears. Don't get married to any business. Don't get married to any idea. Or, you have to be willing to shift gears and play the game. And that's really what it is, to be agile. There needs to be agility.
I've used Elevate. I can't pronounce it. Come on, Jonathan. Kind of the 2 that I use the most is Beaver Builder, and the reason is partly is that I've just found that the founders and just really very nice people. Basically,
they're amazing, all of them.
And Fry Themes. Heavily influenced by Shane, who's been on the show a couple of times, and I just think he's just an amazing individual, really. In somebody of his age, he's a real thinker, but also a real doer, if you understand what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean, and I'm actually very inspired by him. He reached out to me on Slack about 2 weeks ago. I had done a review of Thrive Architect, and he reached out asking me some questions about the review. And I made sure in my response to him, I said, I've been heavily influenced and inspired by you. And I attribute a lot of my success to the principles that you repeatedly talk about. What's happening though with page builders is they're all kind of converging on the same feature set. So with Thrive Architect, one of their big things is inline editing. It's also coming to Gutenberg, obviously, but inline editing is also publicly been said is coming to Elementor. It's probably going to drop in a couple weeks. You're having inline editing hitting Beaver Builder as well. I know they're looking at it. Now the thing, inline editing, I think is the holy grail. You can't write a long blog post without inline editing if you want to use a page builder to make it visually look good. Inline editing is actually huge. But they're all kind of they're all going the same direction, building the entire website with their tool. I think, though, that the edge is going to go to Elementor. They're the most aggressive. And also Thrive is going to, because they're doing really unique things that the others aren't even interested in doing, like that benefit marketers, like A/B split testing and stuff like that. So it's exciting times. If you're the point though is the listeners, you guys should just pick a page building tool, pick a theme, master them, and get your content out there and just get the ball rolling. And if something better comes out later that would really benefit you, plug that in, or you can even switch to it later, but don't let the over-analysis cause paralysis.
Well, that's spot on, because it's the bedrock of WordPress people trying it. But it's really hard to place WordPress in just one area, because there's so many areas now that it's gaining more traction in the enterprise, gaining more traction in the educational market for learning management systems. It's been used by a lot of universities that would have looked at either Drupal or other content management systems, but it's gaining traction in universities. So it's a very wide, differentialized marketplace, isn't it, Adam?
It really is. And it's exciting. It's one thing to look at WordPress, I think it's 28 or 29% of websites. I really see that it just increasing and increasing. If they can pull out this Gutenberg and make things easier for someone to jump in and get started, there's definitely no stopping it. But there's no better time to be in the WordPress ecosystem, whether you're creating content, creating products, or providing solutions to people. Right now is a real exciting time, and it's not showing any signs of slowing down.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. There's been some gloom about around a little bit and some criticism, but in general, I totally agree with you. I think we're going to wrap it up because I'm conscious of not utilising your time. Because you need to get back to do some more videos, don't you? It's great to have you on the show, Adam, and having you as a regular on the panel's been really enjoyable. And I'm just blessed in having such a great panel of like Morton, Lee, yourself, Sally, and my co-host, Kim. It's just been great to talk to such really great people. And we'll see you next week, folks, where we, like I say, we're going to be interviewing somebody who's making their living from WordPress in some way. And we'll see you next week, folks. Bye.
Bye, everyone. See you on Friday and Wednesday.